Terrence James, and you're watching another episode of Neutral Reviews, where we do real reviews for real decisions. And today we are looking at the 2022 Jaguar F-Type R-Dynamic, and I have borrowed the keys for this vehicle from Jaguar London, who has a fantastic location, beautiful showroom, elite customer care, and who offers some of the most stunning vehicles on the road today, including this one. Now, the F-Type came out for 2014 and was redesigned in 2021 by Ian Callum. And Ian Callum is responsible for most of the modern Jags that you see on the road today and other classically beautiful British sports cars like the DB7, among others. He fell in love with the same famed E-Type design that Enzo Ferrari said was the most beautiful car that he had ever seen. So when Ian Callum got the chance to work for Jaguar, he didn't pass up the opportunity to create his own British icon that would push the brand forward, and it worked. However, it did not rival the sales of the 911 like they hoped. And that's because the 911 is the trophy car for all those looking to reward themselves for a job well done. However, unless you're tracking the 911, it will not thrill you on the way there. Whereas the F-Type has all Porsche's posh, but gives you the theater for free. So we take a look at the facts, feels, and final thoughts of the 2022 Jaguar F-Type R-Dynamic to see if it is in fact the car that you should be aspiring to get. So let's take a look. And the F-Type is Jaguar's dedicated sports car, and you can get it in either convertible or coupe, and that coupe is going to be about $3,000 to $4,000 cheaper per trim. And those trims are a rear-wheel drive V8, or you can upgrade for about $10,000 more to a bit more upscale all-wheel drive version in the R-Dynamic, or you can get that chart topper R with the beefy 575 horsepower engine, wider tires, even better styling, and all-wheel drive. Now, we're talking competition. Well, it's kind of a long list if you're an enthusiast. However, this is realistically James Bond's Hellcat. So you are looking technically at the LC500 for Lexus, because it is another wild-sounding rear-wheel drive V8 luxury sports car. However, the 911 is realistically that competition for them and for this and for everybody else in this segment. And like everyone else, the F-Type struggles because it's hard to compete with Porsche's racing lineage. However, what the F-Type does well is gets the perfect blend in between GT and sports car. So let's talk performance. In all versions of the F-Type this year uses 5-liter supercharged V8 engine, with the base and the all-wheel drive being P450s, but really they should be P444s because they have 444 horsepower and 428 pound-feet of torque, where the P575 is actually 575 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque, which is capable of rocketing this 3,900-pound British beauty from 0 to 60 in around 3.5 to 4.5 seconds, with that R being able to do the quarter mile in around 11.7 or 121 miles per hour. And you're looking at around a 70-liter gas tank, around 19 miles per gallon, of course, when you're not drag racing and you are behaving. Now, all that power goes through the ZF 8-speed automatic, not a dual clutch and obviously not a manual, but a very good performance transmission used in other performance sports cars like the DB11, among others. And when we're talking about the R-Dynamic and that R, especially for the R, you need all-wheel drive. However, you still want it to be playful and fun, so it is a rear-biased all-wheel drive system. And when we are talking about steering, you're looking at, of course, electric steering nowadays, but it is speed sensitive because it is a sports car. And obviously, we need rubber on road to get around and get good traction. You've got these sticky P0 tires on here with 255/35 ZR20s in the front and 295/30 ZR20s in the rear. And now obviously you've got to stop, so we've got 4-piston brakes up front, 2-piston in the rear. They're red, so they must be good. They look great. And also 15-inch discs front and back. Well, about 14.8 actually in the rear, but pretty much 15 vented discs all the way around. And when we talk suspension, it uses 4-wheel independent suspension, this being a sports car, of course, but you actually have aluminum double wishbone in the front and rear. And the reason that's a big deal is because that Porsche that we're comparing this against is just starting to do that now in its GT variants, because it is an excellent system to put rubber to the road. Now, when we're talking about all these different things, they have to attach to something, so let's talk chassis. It uses the JLR DB6A chassis, which is shared with Aston Martin DB vehicles, and is a all-aluminum lightweight chassis that's very strong and well balanced. It's about 70 decibels of noise on the highway, which is in line with other luxury type vehicles. You're looking to push around 1 G lateral force on the skid pad, which is very, very impressive as well. And you're looking at about a 103.2-inch wheelbase on here. Now, just to keep in mind with this chassis as well is there is some steel under there that used to rust really badly. So you may want to just look into that if you're buying something pre-owned, because the warranty does not always cover that recall or that fix item that they were going to do on that, at least around here. Now, when we look underneath here, I see exhaust pipes, 4 of them, and they sound like this. Now that's the theater that we were talking about. Of course, it is valved exhaust nowadays, so you can quiet down for your neighbors if you want. And when we come around back here, I do not believe that Jaguar recommends attaching any active urban lifestyles to the back of your F-Type. So now that we have gone through the facts, let's take this for a drive to see how they feel. Okay, so it's time for our traffic light Grand Prix acceleration test. Like we got a load full of expiring scones in the back. So here we go. Got my left foot on the brake. We're going to do gas. We got it in dynamic, which is like their sport mode. Air conditioning's off. I think we got everything covered here. We do have traction control on. We got loud exhaust. Here we go. Wow, I don't know what to say about that. That was incredible. That is the theater that we are talking about right there. Okay, similarly, we're going to do our emergency brake style type test, and we hope those scones don't come up here and hit us in the front here. So here we go. So getting up at a good speed again, and then hard on the brakes. So as you can see, that handled really well and stopped really well. I'm surprised because this is very heavy at 3,900 pounds and 4-piston front and 2-piston rear. Doesn't seem like a lot. I have a 2,700 pound BRZ with Brembo's same size on there. And really this feels like it stops just as well. Okay, now it's time to do our handling test. So obviously we're going to go a lot faster than you ever should. Turns in nice. All-wheel drive hooks up. Bit of body roll, comes around, catches itself. And as you can see, that handles incredible. Now when we talk styling, I really like that Jaguar kept to the classic Jaguar styling cues, including from that E-Type from '68. What I mean is the original had the very similar headlights, and of course all models have that protruding exhaust out the back, similar to the E-Type. And of course you've got that iconic profile, that classic, elegant, athletic shape of that E-Type and now F-Type. Now, as we said, that is a classic shape that is not going to lose its design anytime soon. I do believe that the interior will date itself, but not for a while. And what I mean by that is you've got these newer style gauges and infotainment, widescreen. This one here looks like an Audi. It's very, very bright. We'll talk more about it in a second. But regardless, the idea is, I think because of those things, more modern style buttons, you're going to last a few years before this looks too dated. However, it will become dated, and that's a good thing or a bad thing, because people are going to remember that a sports car at one time had a proper cockpit interior. Not only that, but a low driving position. And not only that, but you're going to have a smaller diameter steering wheel that is more upright. You're going to have good visibility of your gauges. You're going to be able to reach all the controls that you need easily. And of course, you're going to have good sight lines out the front. And most importantly, you want to make sure that you're in something special. And we got that V8 sound, so we definitely feel like we're in something special when it comes to that. Now, when we talk about practical features in here, because this is a GT car, it has lots. You've got lots of good storage in here for a smaller car. This is definitely something that I think you could cruise around in on the weekends or even on a weekday in the pinch. As you can see in that trunk, you're looking at about 14 cubic liters, which isn't too bad, or cubic feet, I should say, which isn't too bad. And you got a power lift gate in the R-Dynamic, in the R as well. In that convertible, it's a little bit limited in its use for the trunk. You know, it's like a Mazda Miata or anything else like that. And it does have a very high lip because of a rigid structure structure. But the coupe here is a good daily driver. You've got lots of space in here with 2 USB chargers for your phone or devices, and you've got a 12 volt in there. It's all felt lined, which is nice. And you've got your cup holders here, which are really nice. They look like they would hold a few things, and for this type of car, that's just fantastic. And your glove compartment, again, felt line, which is nice, so stuff won't rattle around as bad in there. And lots of space, again, which is practical. You've got your door pockets, and again, you got stuff that you can put in those door pockets. You got this little netting back here. Otherwise, there's not a lot of space back there. Actually, the visibility isn't too bad through the rear view mirror. You can see out there pretty well. Now, when we're talking about just in general, how does it feel in here? Well, you feel very confined because you're in this coupe. I've got this lid closed, but when you open it up, you do feel, because that is a big sunroof, you do feel like you have a lot of light in here and a lot of greenhouse space. And although you still feel sporty and low down with these big pillars and everything like that, you do not feel cramped anymore. But I like that cramped feeling myself. Now, these seats are absolutely incredible. These are probably the second nicest seats to that Taycan GTS that I had a couple weeks ago that I've experienced. They're 12-way power both sides, so you got lots of adjustability. You've got 3 memory settings, which is nice if you got lots of drivers in and out and you're using this car all the time with different sizes. And all the switch gear, of course, looks good. You're in a Jaguar. Some of the stuff like these here look a little cheap to me, but they may be older and, you know, come from the parts bin. But generally speaking, the stuff that you're looking at is really, really nice. The leathers in here are nice. I like the contrast stitching. I like the gloss black. Yes, I know that it makes smudges and things like that, but it does look good. You got this carbon fiber look as well. But yeah, these seats are absolutely incredible. Ventilated, heated. I like that they're perforated. I'm a sucker for that quilting. And those holes look like you could put a harness through. I don't know if this is a harness type car or not, but they look the part anyway. And like I said, but this is, we said it's got a GT sports car mix in here. And when you have this car in normal mode, it is quite compliant. And even when it's in that dynamic or sport track, whatever type mode you want to call it, it really does firm up, but it's not punishing by any means. Yeah, generally speaking, it's a very comfortable car. I was thinking to myself that these seats, I could easily do a long road trip. Like, this is super, super comfortable in here. Yet, as you saw when we were going around those corners, with all the adjustability here, they're quite bolstered, and you can angle them so you sit in here really nice and snug. And I think that it would accommodate many different body sizes as well because of that adjustability. But again, you're in a sports car, so you have to keep that in mind. With that being said, I've heard people online say that about a 6-foot person could fit in here with a helmet on. I'm 5'7", and I feel like I got loads of space here, so that makes sense to me. Now, the steering wheel, as well, as we said, is smaller diameter, but as far as this goes, but the actual thickness of here, it's got a nice girth. Not too thick, not too thin. Does feel really sporty. You've got this. I like the way that it's the same color here because it looks a little gimmicky, you know, when it's got red or something here, especially in a car like this. No, this is very nice here. Of course, you got these buttons, which look nice as well on here, and we'll give a neutral review shout out, which is nice. So we know what the horn sounds like. And what else here? That steering wheel, like I said, it feels really good in the hand, but it's got these paddles here. Now, these paddles are really nice in the sense that they're metal, but I don't know, it's just the click just feels a little chintzy to me. And that's nothing against Jaguar, that's everybody. I've never been in a vehicle, even a $128,000 sports car, $1 sports car, that has paddles that are as engaging, or I don't know what the right thing to say is, as that manual shifter, which I wish we had. Because people like myself that are driving enthusiasts, I don't care if the PDK or the ZF 8-speed or whatever can get you fractions of a second faster to 0-60. That's great in a magazine. I want to be able to drive the car and feel engaged. And if we're going to be stuck with paddles in any of these cars, not just Jaguar, I would really wish that they would do a better job with that. That being said, they work just fine. And as I said, this transmission I've never driven a PDK. I'm hoping to do a 911 next week, but nonetheless, this shifts really, really smooth. I'm very impressed. Everyone talks about the ZF, and it is an amazing transmission. What else to talk about? You got all your buttons down here. You got your auto start stop. You can put your spoiler up if you feel like it when you're not going fast. You can shut that traction control off. I will not be doing that because as a brand new vehicle, and we don't want to wipe it out. And you can turn those exhausts on and off, as we said here. You can put this in rain, ice, and snow mode. normal mode or dynamic or sport, whatever you want to call it, with this here. You can also do it on the infotainment with their performance type pages, which is neat. And I like this little button or dial over here. This is for your volume, which is nice to still have a button for that. And I love these buttons here. Actually, you know, you got your start stop to say, and this person looks like they ordered a cigarette lighter. But nonetheless, you've got your toggle style switches here, which again is a sports car type thing. My BRZ has that. Obviously, this is a lot nicer, but it's a sports car idea. Same with these 3 climate controls here. But which is nice with these ones, not only do they feel nice, but they're dual purpose. So again, trying to eliminate buttons in this new modern world to make it a little bit more clean, which you have here. So right now it's set up that it's showing your climate dual zone. And what you can do here is adjust the fan speed. But if you push any of these buttons on either side, it now changes it to your seat. Left is cooling, right is heating. And again, you hit those and you can go back and forth between those. And this cool little gimmick here, if you're not using the climate control, you can shut it off and it goes away to look really, really nice. But you know what, it's a hot day today, so we're gonna turn that back on because I'm already sweating more than I really want right now. So what else to talk about in here? Well, you've got to talk nowadays about your electronics. This has minor safety stuff, like you got blind spot monitoring, lane keep, you've got cruise control, you've got emergency braking, and when you're backing up, and I believe that it's got 360 camera, a nice backup camera, and as well an acceleration stopping based on the signs, because it can read road signs. Now, aside from that, when we're looking at our infotainment here, like I said, you know what? Most people are going to plug in your Apple CarPlay or your Android Auto, so it really doesn't matter. But I have to say, for a factory system, aside from it not looking really crisp and clear, it works just fine. It's the first time I've been in a modern Land Rover or Jag, and it's great. It's super intuitive. You've got your shortcuts down here, which are similar to if you swipe over to here. And you got on your main page here the things that you're going to use all the time. You got your navigation, media, and phone. And that navigation, actually, for a factory navigation, is not bad. As you can see, you can pinch the zoom like your phone. It's pretty responsive. It doesn't look great, but I mean, it does the trick. And most importantly, they say it, I haven't been testing it, but they say that it's hooked up to live traffic, which is really nice as well. And that's kind of the benefit of why people go with your Android Autos and that type of thing, and Apple CarPlay, which this has, as we said, and it's wired. And these gauges in the center here are absolutely stunning. I really love them. They look, as I said, they look like something out of an Audi. They're as nice as my iPhone 13, really sharp and crisp. And one of the things that I like is it's customizable. So right now, you know, we've got it in the one, the 1 gauge, kind of that center tack, which I like, very similar to my BRZ. That's sporty. But if you don't like that, you can change that. You go down to layout and you can change it into full map. You can have 2 dials if you want. You can have your media. It's really user-friendly. That full-size map, if you are going on a trip, is really nice. I mean, it's right here, obviously, as well, but this looks really nice in here, and it's right there in front of you. No heads-up display in this car, but with this gauge and how good it is, you really don't need anything else. Now, the last thing to kind of talk about in here is the sound system. Now, I myself kind of go with Jay Leno's philosophy, which is when you have a car or an engine like this, there's only one station I want to listen to, and that's this. Woo! It's my favorite station. I could listen to that all day long. But if you have to, it's got a 380 watt, 10 speaker Meridian sound system in here, which sounds just fine. Which leads me to my final thoughts. Now, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and check out one of our other performance car reviews so we can get more cool cars like this one and our upcoming review next week. And if you subscribed already, thank you for your continued support. Now, we started off this review by looking to see if the F-Type was the sports car that you should be aspiring to buy for a job well done. And here are the facts and feels that we used to come up with this final thought, which is the F-Type provides the theater that the 911 doesn't. And at this price point, the last thing that you want to do is to be left wanting. And the F-Type will definitely put a smile on your face even when no one's around to see your trophy. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.